Johnny Carson reigned as television's smooth-talking maestro of midnight entertainment. Yet beneath that legendary charm and wit, even the crowned sovereign of late night occasionally revealed flashes of genuine emotion. Throughout 3 decades, Carson expertly navigated celebrity vanities, uncomfortable exchanges, and surprising hostilities by masterfully diffusing tense situations. But on rare occasions, his polished veneer cracked, allowing America to witness something extraordinary. Johnny Carson authentically irritated, provoked, or pushed beyond his tolerance threshold. These were genuine instances of electricity that surged through television screens nationwide, leaving viewers wondering if they'd just observed something unintended for broadcast. Let's examine the 3 most heated disputes in Tonight Show legacy, and those moments when Johnny Carson's celebrated self-control finally unraveled. Among all Johnny Carson's verbal sparring partners, none delivered a more insolent appearance than Charles Grodin. The deadpan performer and recurring Tonight Show visitor had mastered a unique approach that balanced precariously between humor and genuine provocation. His appearances became notorious for their uncomfortable tension, but one 1982 visit transformed from playful antagonism into something that visibly disturbed Carson. The conflict began when Grodin arrived promoting his publication, immediately griping about NBC's handling of literary guests. While most visitors gratefully embraced their promotional opportunity, Grodin launched into a discourteous on-air complaint, specifically targeting Johnny's viewpoint that his book was excessively priced. Your attitude would be disdain. You know, when I tried to talk about my book in the hardcover, you said, $18.95, that's a lot of money for a book. I said it's my whole life. I thought it was.
Your attitude would be disdain. When I tried to talk about my book in the hardcover, you said, $18.95, that's a lot of money for a book. And I said it's my whole life.
I thought it was.
And you said, maybe if it's Mother Teresa's life, you remember those? Yes, I do. I didn't know you were that sensitive. You actually remember that. I'm so sensitive.
And you said, maybe if it's Mother Teresa's life,
You remember those things, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I didn't know you were that sensitive. You actually remember that.
I'm so sensitive, I really can't answer a question from someone who's not interested in the question.
I'm very interested in the question.
I really can't answer a question from someone who's not interested in the question. I'm very interested in the question. It's all right. It's okay. I'm used to it. The audience chuckled, assuming this was typical Grodin theatrical behavior, but Carson's expression began to harden. When Grodin then mocked Carson's speaking style, adopting an exaggerated imitation that portrayed the host as mechanical and uninterested, the friction became unmistakable. I suppose the thing is to get it when you can. Are you whispering again? Oh no, you said I'm whispering last time. Yeah, you talk very softly for me. I don't know why. Are you hearing me? This is what you sound like. Are you talking made a book?
Are you whispering again?
Oh no, you said I'm whispering last time.
Yeah, you talk very softly for me. I don't know why.
Are you hearing me?
This is what you sound like. You're talking made a book? No. Why? I think so.
Well, I think so. Have you seen those little whisper things that people get who are just on the edge of going completely deaf where you hear something? I'm going to get you. I think it's me. Yeah, I think you're losing it. Well, maybe it is me. And now you want to know why I mistreat you. That's right. Now, people don't understand when you come out here and well, but look at you. I mean, you don't really care what I have to say, do you? Honestly? No.
People don't understand when you come out here and
Well, but look at you. I mean, you don't really care what I have to say, do you? Honestly?
No.
That was the instant Carson's renowned composure fractured. His smile disappeared, replaced by an icy gaze that faithful viewers had never witnessed before. You know what, Charles? Carson retorted, his voice descending to a dangerously quiet level. What do you care about? I mean, in life? You care about anything that you actually care about? Yes, what? My health. Then I have this terrible pain right now that's aggravated by you asking me dumb questions like that. Well, I'm trying to cut through the list. The question, forget the list. All right, I'm really asking you, man, as though we weren't here. Yes, there are a lot of things I care deeply about. Deeply? Come on. What do you mean, come on? Deeply. Of course. You? Yes, I can care about the human condition? Come on, like what? Don't you know what the human condition is? Yeah, but what do you care about the human condition? Do you lie awake at night and worry about anything that doesn't have to do with the show or yourself? Yes, the mentally impaired. The disagreement concluded with an awkward handshake and forced laughter, but the damage was evident. Grodin's subsequent appearances noticeably decreased and were more carefully orchestrated. Carson had established that while he welcomed verbal jousting, certain boundaries shouldn't be transgressed, particularly regarding questioning his sincerity or professionalism. The most explosive confrontation in Tonight Show history never reached broadcast, but its aftermath shaped Johnny's approach to handling problematic guests throughout his remaining career. Wayne Newton had frequently been targeted in Carson's opening monologue quips, especially regarding his Las Vegas persona and meticulously maintained appearance. The incident occurred in 1980 when Newton arrived unexpectedly at NBC's Burbank studios during a recording session. Security footage captured Newton marching determinedly down the corridor, visibly angered. He bypassed standard guest reception procedures and stormed directly into Carson's private office. "Mr. Carson, these jokes about me will stop and they'll stop now or I will kick your ass. It doesn't happen." And what did he say? And I think he said something like, "Wayne, I'm your biggest fan." I said, "They don't give me that crap."
"These jokes about me will stop and they'll stop now or I will kick your ass." It doesn't.
And what did he say?
He started to mumble, and I think he said something like, "Wayne, I'm your biggest fan." I said, "Don't give me that crap."
I confronted him, and he turned pale, and I told him what my intentions were. And he wouldn't get up. And so I smacked him. "You really hit him?" "Yeah." "Wow, like how hard did you hit him? Would you like to see?" "No, I don't want to see." It remains uncertain whether Wayne actually struck Johnny, since his account of the encounter varies across interviews. Regardless, the repercussions were immediate. Carson, who had built his reputation on fearless comedy and steadfastly standing behind his jokes, found himself in unfamiliar territory. He had previously managed upset guests, but never someone who had crossed from complaint to intimidation. The altercation was brief but intense, with Newton emphasizing that Carson's jokes carried real-world consequences for his commercial ventures and relatives. The immediate aftermath proved swift and definitive. Carson contacted NBC security and implemented a permanent exclusion of Newton from Tonight Show premises. More significantly, every mention of Newton was promptly eliminated from that evening's monologue and future scripts. Carson's decision wasn't driven by fear, but principle. Anyone resorting to intimidation rather than professional discussion had sacrificed their position on The Tonight Show. The prohibition remained throughout Carson's tenure, conveying an unambiguous message throughout Hollywood. Jokes were acceptable, but threats and aggression were not. Perhaps the most surprising heated exchange in Tonight Show history involved Carson's most trusted associate and closest confidant, Ed McMahon. Built on decades of friendship and mutual respect, their relationship seemed unshakable. But in 1983, a seemingly innocent discussion about marine biology escalated into a genuine dispute that astonished both the studio audience and home viewers. The disagreement began during Carson's monologue when he joked about beach safety and shark attacks. McMahon, perhaps emboldened by spirits or simply feeling contrary, interrupted with a correction that caught Carson off guard. "Actually, Johnny," McMahon interjected, "sharks are much more afraid of humans than we are of them." "The statistics show, Ed," Carson replied with a cautionary tone. "We're in the middle of the monologue here." But McMahon uncharacteristically persisted. "No, but this is important, Johnny. People have completely wrong ideas about sharks because of movies like Jaws. More people are killed by vending machines every year than by shark attacks." Carson, visibly annoyed by the interruption but attempting to maintain program flow, tried continuing. "Well, thank you, Jacques Cousteau. Now, as I was saying, don't dismiss it, Johnny," McMahon responded sharply, his voice carrying an edge that surprised everyone. "This kind of misinformation is exactly why people are terrified of the ocean unnecessarily." "Well, doesn't a shark continually swim? It never stops swimming." "The shark never stops swimming. All its life."
The bird never.
Yeah. Well, doesn't a shark continually swim? It never stops swimming. The shark never stops swimming. All its life.
"What has that got to do with my swim? I mean, this you say for the first 3 years, this is all its life. It never stops swimming." But this bird is in the air. This shark is in the water. Be silly to see a shark flying around. Wait a minute, I fail to see the logic of this. A shark never stops swimming. A shark is buoyed by the water, its own weight. It can rest and move. But in the air, primary, it's one thing to do this for 3 years. It's another to do this. I see what you mean. You see the difference? They're not sure. They say that they have to keep moving but not constantly swimming, because sharks do rest at night. So that doesn't mean that they're quiet at night. What difference would it make to a shark? What's the difference between day or night to a shark? The audience fell completely silent, sensing they were witnessing something unprecedented. Carson and McMahon never quarreled on air. Their relationship formed the program's foundation, constructed on Carson's comedy and McMahon's supportive laughter and enthusiasm. Carson halted the monologue entirely and turned directly toward McMahon. Ed, are you seriously going to lecture me about marine biology in the middle of my show? I'm trying to educate people instead of perpetuating myths, McMahon replied, his jaw set in a way that demonstrated he wouldn't retreat. The argument intensified from there, with Carson questioning McMahon's sudden expertise in oceanography and McMahon defending his right to correct inaccuracies even during the monologue. The tension grew so palpable that audience members later described feeling like unwitting witnesses to a private dispute. You know what, Ed? Carson finally declared, his voice strained with frustration. If you want to host a nature documentary, maybe you should get your own show. But this is The Tonight Show, and I'm the host. Your job is to laugh at the jokes, not fact-check them. McMahon, clearly wounded, fired back. And my job for 30 years has been to make you look good, Johnny. Sometimes that means speaking up when you're about to make yourself look foolish. The statement lingered like electricity in the atmosphere. Carson stared at McMahon for what seemed an eternity, then simply announced, "We'll be right back after these messages." During the commercial interruption, the two men engaged in a whispered but heated exchange that crew members characterized as the most intense moment they'd ever observed between the longtime partners. Because the water doesn't go through has to go through the gills. The water has to keep going through the gills. Can't they stop once in a while? No. Now some people say yes.
Because the water doesn't go through?
It has to go through the gills.
The water has to keep going through the gills? Can't they stop once in a while? Now, some people say yes, they can stop.
They can stop once in a while after dinner or something. I may have a cigarette, but after they smoke a herring. Cameras continued recording for technical purposes, but audio was muted for the audience. Stage personnel close enough to overhear reported both men speaking in urgent, clipped tones never before heard. Carson, typically the embodiment of calm professionalism during breaks, gestured more emphatically than usual. McMahon, who normally spent commercial interruptions making casual conversation or reviewing upcoming segments, maintained his position with arms crossed. The disagreement persisted throughout nearly the entire commercial break, with both men's complexions reddening as seconds elapsed. What made the scenario even more remarkable was the studio's reaction. The house musicians, who had witnessed countless commercial breaks over the years, suspended their typical adjustments to watch in stunned silence. Audience members who perceived the tension, even without hearing the words, began murmuring amongst themselves. Some later claimed they felt like witnessing the dissolution of a marriage. Stage manager Bobby Quinn, who had collaborated with both men for over a decade, subsequently described feeling physically ill watching the confrontation. Johnny and Ed were like an old married couple, he recalled. They had their little disagreements, but nothing like this. You could feel the whole studio holding its breath. When the back in 10 seconds cue arrived, both men immediately ceased talking and assumed their positions. The transformation proved remarkable. Carson straightened his tie and found his mark behind the desk, while McMahon returned to his chair and prepared his famous laugh. Upon returning from commercial, both men were smiling, but their chemistry appeared forced throughout the remainder of the program. Carson's jokes didn't land quite as naturally, and McMahon's laughter seemed slightly delayed. Subtle details regular viewers might overlook, but crew members found disturbing. The effortless rhythm that had made their partnership legendary was clearly disrupted. Even Doc Severinsen later remarked that musical cues felt awkward during the remainder of the recording. The shark dispute became legendary among Tonight Show personnel. and marked one of the rare occasions viewers witnessed genuine conflict between Carson and his most trusted colleague. Crew members referenced it for years afterward as the night Johnny and Ed had their divorce. It became a watershed moment that everyone associated with the program remembered precisely where they were when it happened. These three confrontations, Newton's backstage ultimatum, Grodin's book price battle, and McMahon's shark debate, revealed different facets of Johnny Carson's personality rarely displayed to audiences. With Newton, he demonstrated decisive protection of professional boundaries. With Grodin, he showed that his patience had limits when guests crossed from entertainment into disrespect. With McMahon, he proved that even friendship couldn't override his authority as host. Each dispute also highlighted Carson's rapid recovery and professionalism. Despite these moments' intensity, he never allowed personal conflicts to permanently derail his program. Newton was prohibited, but Carson never publicly discussed their confrontation. Grodin continued appearing, but within clearer parameters. McMahon remained his co-host and friend. Their relationship apparently strengthened by surviving their only public disagreement. These intense moments remind us that beneath Carson's refined exterior was a man with strong convictions about his craft, his program, and his standards. When those boundaries were crossed, America glimpsed the steel beneath the smile and perhaps gained greater respect for the man who maintained his composure throughout 30 extraordinary years. If you appreciate this video, consider subscribing below your screen to support the channel. Until next time.